And we are live. Gonna roll the intro. From the keyboard to the boardroom, this is the Business of Esports after show live stream. It's our post-podcast live stream.
The best.
If it's your first time here, welcome to the official after show to the Business of Esports podcast. Because there are so many after shows, but this is the official one. So if you're here, you're at the right after party. Our apologies for being so late. I know we said we were going live at 7:30. It's completely William's fault.
This is my fault, guys.
He was mid-game, Heroes of the Storm. Could not extricate himself. And he decided, I'm just letting you know his dedication to this. He decided finishing that game of Heroes of the Storm was more important.
Guys, for anybody who's played Heroes, we were literally coring. We were on core, right? We were... I really apologize. This is on me. I had a scheduling snafu that held things up, but we're here now. And I mean, let's be honest, we're also like amazing anyway, so we can get it going. And we have some incredible topics for the post, because again, this was a podcast where I think we covered like 3 news items and we saved all the other stuff. So some really good things.
At some point, this is all going to converge. Like at some point. Because we end up saving stuff, knowing we want to talk about it live, knowing it's more fun because there's people interacting with us. So I don't know. At some point, they're going to converge. But for those of you who are new to the after show, what we do is we cover all the, the similar kind of intersection of business and esports or business and gaming that we do on the podcast. But we cover the stuff that didn't make it on the podcast, the sort of the cutting room floor topics, the topics that are maybe a little bit more lighthearted. A little bit more fun. We try and have more fun with this. We try for this to be as interactive as possible. William, as you mentioned, we have a ton of great topics this week. But before we jump into them, let me just tease the podcast episode this week. So this week we covered, and I'll put it up here. We covered Roblox,
which was a good one.
Putting up some crazy user numbers.
I don't know how they do that.
Like ridiculous numbers. We covered Modern Times Group, who owns ESL and DreamHack, losing money and the implications of that. And we talked a lot about tournament organizers and the sustainability of those businesses. We also talked about Valorant pros essentially jumping ship, or at least this pro jumping ship and coming back to Fortnite, which is what he played professionally before he went to Valorant. And sort of discussed game balance versus content cadence.
That was a big discussion. It was a really good one.
It was a good discussion. And then we closed the podcast, which comes out tomorrow, every week on Thursday, with a discussion on Nintendo and them really stretching themselves, making Lego sets, really stretching their IP here.
Yeah.
So that's what we covered on the podcast. We've got a ton more stuff to talk about today.
A lot more.
I will open it up and say, if you guys want us to dive into some of those podcast topics at the end, let us know. Like, don't be shy. I'll leave them for the end if we want to sort of hash them out again for those who are on the live stream or who have specific questions relative to those things. I mean, William, are you going to green screen this whole thing because you have a green shirt on?
I don't know what else to do, Paul, because if I put on the background, look at this. Like, I mean, this is, to be very fair, I mean, this is the greatest background of all time. But then it deletes me. I would tell
you to take the shirt off, but this is a family-friendly stream.
I know.
We would just have too many viewers at that point.
I'm not Henry Cavill. You know what I should probably do? I should probably put on the world's greatest background of all time, which is the Paul Dawalibi special.
It's also, it's weird because this one doesn't, well, I guess it sort of does. No, it shows up okay.
There's a lot of good ones.
Your shirt this is a good one. I think
it's distracting with my shirt flickering the whole way. I think I should just green screen it, but it's your decision. Otherwise, I'll just do the HOTS background because apparently that's what I prefer here. But I love this mansion background, by the way. Like, I have so many questions about this. Like, if you really think about the mansion background they shot this in, do you guys see this? Like, if you really think about this fake, like, StreamYard background, like, there's so many questions. Like, why would you put your grand piano right next to your living? Like, it's weird. Like, no one would live in a house like this.
Yeah, where do you put your grand piano? It goes in the living room.
No, you don't tuck it right next to the fireplace. It's gonna destroy the piano. It's gonna got to tune in like 30 seconds.
This is where you play piano when you have company over, people are sitting, someone gets on the piano. Where else do you put the piano?
Not in my house, Paul. In my house, there's only in my house.
Like, where do you want it?
Where I spend most of the time, Paul, in the computer room. I don't know.
Adam says he wants that Paul background to use for work now. Yes, it should be one of the defaults in Zoom. I don't know why it's not.
It's the greatest background of all time. I don't know why they haven't set that up. It's like, we should go. It's so dumb I wore a green shirt, though. I did not think about that one. But
Adam, I think we should try and make that happen, because I would love to see more people on Zoom calls with my face randomly in the background.
He's a great looking guy.
Let's jump into some topics this week, William. I don't know what you want to start with. You want to start with something light? You want to start with something heavy? Because we've got a bit of both.
Let's do a heavy topic. Let's start heavy.
Let's start heavy?
Yep.
Okay, you want to start heavy.
I mean, story of my life. You want to ease into it? You want to go light? You want to tease it? Like,
no, let's go heavy. Let's go heavy. That as heavy as there is here.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start. Let's open up with this one. And by the way, happy Wednesday to Cam.
Oh, Cam's loyal. Cam, I'm sorry I was late for us today, buddy.
This is from the Esports Observer, and the headline is Vindex acquires Belong Gaming Arenas, Envy Gaming, and Andbox planned venues. It's just, there's so much just in that headline to unbox. That I think
there's,
if you wanted heavy, this is as heavy as it's going to get this week.
Yeah, there's quite a lot here.
So let's start with the basics. Vindex paid $52 million, or I guess 52 million pounds, for actually what I heard was $50 million. So I'm not sure what this number is here, but they acquired Belong Gaming Arenas, which owns supposedly a bunch of locations in the UK, and they plan, so they don't have them yet, they plan to open hundreds of locations in the US. And Vindex says they're going to invest $300 million over the next 5 years and open 1,000 locations globally. Yeah, see, it says, according to a report from the Financial Times, the deal valued Belong at $50 million.
Which is weird to me because it's already a markdown, right? Like, the guy paid 65 just for the asset, like just for the UK retail assets last year, bolted on this brand, and now it's a $50 million downswing. So straight away, that's a little weird optics to get in your public announcement. Like, I might tweak that a little, but I don't know.
You're buying a distressed asset here.
I guess that's
everything brick and mortor.
I guess that's what it is. Yeah.
Asset.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. It's a challenge there.
No, so look, I don't know if you want me to sort of start digging into this. Obviously,
no, I want feelings. You to dig in, go mainstream for this, Paul. Because while you go mainstream, I'm going to swap my background so I don't flicker. So go full cam on this.
Look, so the only credit I can give here is that they paid seemingly a down round. In some ways, that's a positive. But I still think at $50 million, and I'm not sure the total number of locations Belong Gaming currently has. I don't think it's that many. But at $50 million, in my mind, you're still way overpaying for a brick and mortar business that fundamentally no one has really made work in the US. Allied's losing money like crazy. I mean, who else is there in the US? You know, there's a bunch of one-offs. There's Helix that has a slightly differentiated strategy,
which we love. We love Helix.
But but no one has made like the 1,000 location strategy work. And I seriously doubt anyone can.
Look,
I just don't think there's, in the world we live in today, and it has changed pretty drastically. I don't know how you make this work, keep these centers busy, and make money. I think Vindex overpaid here without knowing the details of, Belong Gaming's digital, but at face value feels like they overpaid for this asset, because what's stopping Vindex from going and opening centers of their own under the Vindex brand? That's what I'm not understanding, what they bought here other than the few locations in the UK.
Well, I think they bought a headline and, potentially they bought an operating model. But yeah, I mean, for me, the issue is, and I see this all the time in esports, particularly with physical retail locations, right? Like, people jump to the end game. I mean, we see this with teams too, right? But like, people like, so basically, like, it's like 30 years from now, should there be, a retail gaming center, within a 10-mile driving distance of most people's house? Maybe. Yeah, maybe I could see that world, right? Maybe I could see that world.
And Google Stadia would probably have something to say about that.
Yeah, Google Stadia would be there for sure. But like the
meaning like the cloud gaming promise is that you don't need that.
Exactly. And that's where, like, I mean, I'm a little biased here because obviously I am now part of Helix, right? I'm an owner in that business. So declaring my full structural, views here. But it's weird to me because I could see getting to, a couple per major geography, but 1,000, like, it's just prove it out more.
It's too big of a jump.
Yeah. And also at this scale, you're the most vulnerable for disruption, right? Because at this scale of center, what's being discussed to get to 1,000, you are vulnerable. You're not hosting major events, right? You're not hosting like the local regional championships or something. You're the most at risk for a shift like a Google Stadia that makes gaming at home more compatible and more effective, right? So it's weird to me. The whole thing is weird. That being said, I mean, obviously I'm very long on physical retail gaming spaces, particularly in this environment. I think it's a great investment opportunity, and I'm not clear everything that's under Belong Gaming. I mean, maybe there's some killer stuff there that isn't being disclosed in the PR announcement. Doubtful, but maybe. But it's just that scale and that growth. It strikes me as it's unrealistically ambitious, is honestly how I view it.
I just see this as a symptom of too much cash again, right? I'm going to start giving it a name. It's like, it's Bitcraft disease. It's Bitcraft syndrome. And basically you have Vindex, and I don't think this was their original. This is what they originally said they were going to be doing, right? I don't think this was their original thesis when they announced Vindex and raising all this money.
It was content, wasn't it? It was like a content platform.
I'm not sure what it was, right? It was two names and a piece of paper is frankly what it was.
By the way, though, my favorite type of business, don't knock two names and a piece of paper. That can get you very far if you're smart.
No, I am going to knock it. Two names and a piece of paper makes no sense. And then you have, they raised 60 million in a Series A, which like makes no sense. I don't even care what the pitch is. Just like that big of a number that early on, unless you're building hardware, you're opening physical locations, makes absolutely no sense. And then now saying we're planning to invest 300 million, like the numbers are just too big with zero proof points, with literally all of the market dynamics and economics working against you. All the live events are canceled. All the in-person stuff is on hold, right? Like it seems totally tone deaf, frankly.
Look, I am
completely tone deaf.
I am so long physical gaming arenas. I was totally not. Couple years ago, I was a convert as I saw what's happening and how the space moves but it's tough. Yeah, this to me is a weird one. Yeah.
William, if they had come out and said, look, we're Vindex, we're going to do these 4 things. We raised 60 million. We're going to take 3. We're going to prove out 1 center in Dallas.
Exactly.
Right?
Like we'll do a marquee
and we're going to figure out.
Yeah,
that's it. Right. We're going to figure out the model. We're going to then franchise it. It's super capital efficient, or I don't know, something clever, right? And we'll get to 1,000, but it's only going to cost us 10 million total,
Yeah, we're jumping to the end game because what's the benefit of owner operating fight? Like McDonald's doesn't feel a need to own and operate 500. Like they're very like there's very proven models for how to approach this type of business. And look, credit to these guys, they're smart. Maybe they know stuff we don't know about structure in the market, but to me, I know Paul. I'm always the positive one.
I always hate when you say that. It's like maybe they know something we don't know. They don't.
All right, Paul. All right, Paul.
There's nothing they know that we don't know.
Let's call it's
Bitcraft like syndrome. I'm calling it now. It's Bitcraft syndrome. It's too much money and too little knowledge.
Yep.
And you put those two things together, you get very dangerous.
Let's call it like it is. They don't know. There's nothing else to know here. It's tough to swallow this at face value. And Heroes of the Storm is the greatest video game ever made. Those are peg it up, points of light, hang the Christmas trees.
To me, the sprinkles on this one, the cherry on top was, by the way, we're going to be opening arenas, which will be the home bases of Envy Gaming and Andbox, which I guess means Envy and Andbox are not going to pursue their own arenas. They're somehow going to use Vindex built arenas, which
we'll figure it out. I mean,
somehow Andbox seems like the smart one in this move here. Either that or I'll tell you what is more likely has happened.
Yep.
Andbox has not been able to raise a dime, and now they need someone else to pay for the stadium.
Well, lot of optionality here. It is weird to me though that you wouldn't want to own your home team stadium, Mark. Like if you have confidence in
because we've like knocked that big time too, right?
We have. No, but like bear my thesis. If you are long on the home market city model, it's tough to make that traditional sports model work without stadia ownership. Like I defy you to point to a traditional sports team that doesn't own their home stadia. It's a whole separate business line that's most of their P&L, or most of some exaggerations, like a third to half their P&L. So like, it's weird that you wouldn't want, I'm not saying that's the right model, but if you're on that model, it's weird that you then don't want to own it. Like, it's like, are you copying sports or not? I don't know. Anyway, but let's do a light one.
Don't you think it's weird to also have in a PR announcement? Like, I don't know. And maybe this part's a little less weird, but it just sits so wrong with me. Money you don't have, but that you will spend. Like they say, we're going to invest 300 million. They don't have 300 million today.
But okay, Paul, it's
a little weird to like just assume 300 million is going to appear.
I can't knock that because I do like when people when people have enough faith in the vision, they don't let the practical realities get in the way. Like, I like that. Like, but I agree. It's a little bit like, that's such a funding discrepancy.
If it's the CEO pitching it and he goes, look, we believe in this. We're going to raise 300 million over the next 5 years. We're going to put this whole thing on steroids. I get that. But in a press release?
Yeah. It's a little strange here. I don't know.
Look, and they probably will. That's the reality, right? Bitcraft syndrome is rampant, and so you're going to end up with a lot of people throwing money at this. Can the U.S. support 1,000 locations? And I know it says globally, but let's say it's 500. Probably yes. At some point in the future. Is it 5 years? Is it 25 years? Is it 40 years? Who knows?
Yeah.
The point is plunking hundreds of millions of dollars today with no clear proof point of any profitability anywhere. Not for one location, not for almost any company, maybe other than Helix. I don't think there's a single brick and mortar, and I'll go out on a limb because I'm trying to think of ones that I know. I don't think there's a single brick and mortar esports cafe, that is profitable.
Well,
not one.
I'll say this: our businesses are good businesses, but if you look at how we did it more what you want. You proved the model. We did a marquee facility in New York. Then we went a scale higher in Foxborough, Massachusetts, right? Like with the Patriots. So even there, I think it's, but it comes down to how do you want to build a business? As an entrepreneur, I think you build it proof point by proof point. You constantly check and test your assumptions because that's the only way you can meaningfully know. Like, your instincts count for a lot as an entrepreneur, but the market's response counts for more. And one of the best things I've learned in building businesses is to listen, like is you know, they call it an entrepreneur is like a science, but like it's the call and response. It's like you put some chips down and you try to put down just enough chips to learn if the chips are going to be good money or bad money, right? If it's good money, you start dumping chips in. If it's bad money, you back out and you didn't lose too much. And it's that probing that I think makes you very effective. You learn a lot. You're nimble. It's almost amoeba-like. You're like sending tendrils out. And yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But I want to do a light topic. This one was heavy. I want to do light. I want to do a fun light one. So
let's talk about sneakers. Because
these are dope.
Other than gaming, probably one of my biggest passions.
Which, by the way, Paul, we got to talk. I have a company for you that's doing something in sneakers you might want to look at. So just FYI.
But William knows my sneaker game is pretty top notch.
You don't see them on the podcast, but Paul has the greatest collection of sneakers I've seen outside of a sneakerhead store, and maybe even like
no. Really, Paul's a sneaker guy. Yes, Cam. If you ever come see me speak in person or. It's my signature. It's the thing that people remember. People almost always remember my sneakers.
Dude has more ice creams than a Baskin Robbins, my friend.
They're all very obnoxiously loud, bling. Like I like a lot of flash, on my sneaker.
I do like the way I liked my joke there. I didn't get enough credit for that joke.
You didn't get enough credit, but it's a great joke. So here's the article from soulcollector.com. Nike is releasing new video game inspired sneakers. The brand continues to embrace gaming culture. I don't know. So they have some pictures of these sneakers. It's like pixelated Nike swoosh. It says have a good game on the back, with more like sort of pixelated art. And I guess it glows in the dark.
Am I allowed to vomit? Like, is this?
I mean, I know you're not a sneaker guy, right? You would never buy these.
No, I wouldn't. Would you buy them? That's the real question.
So I'm a very particular kind of sneaker guy in the sense that I'm a luxury brand like only guy. So I don't do Nike, I don't do Adidas, I don't do, like I won't wear a pair of Yeezys. But like Gucci, Louboutin, like this is my bread and butter. So in general, I probably wouldn't buy a Nike sneaker, even if it was gaming inspired. But I think this is not that inspired. It's just like have a good game and a pixelated logo. Like I would love to see an entire collection, like top 25 games of all time, and each sneaker, embody that game or something.
Well, the bigger thing just like doesn't go. I mean, like aesthetically, it's quite nice. Like, I mean, I'm not a sneaker guy, but it's the colors, white.
It's too boring for me. It's actually too boring for me.
To me, it's just there's no video. Like, if you didn't tell me this was a video game shoe, I wouldn't notice it. Like, it's not even GG, right? Like, have a good game. That's what you say before you play any game. Like, I can say that before we play basketball, and it's good. And the pixelated Nike logo is so subtle. Is honestly like it doesn't read to me. Like 90% of people aren't going to be seeing the shoe up close. It's going to look like a regular Nike swoosh. This is tepid. Like I would love, Paul. I am in the market for some dope gaming shoes. Like I buy gaming shirts left and right. I would love something a little more subtle to express. I would love some Space Invaders slip-ons, some nice. I went for the alliteration. I don't know. I would love that. Like I would eat that up, or like maybe a Jandal that's co-branded with Jor Raptor or something. I don't know, but I know. I wish there'd been more here. I suspect this is because they didn't want to pay for licenses. Is what I really suspect. Right?
No, this feels like shoe designed by committee.
Oh, really?
like a marketing department at Nike got religion about gaming. Someone went to a conference, they found out gaming was hot, right? They bring it back, they say we need to do a gaming shoe. They have 10 people in the room who know nothing about gaming. There's one person who read a little bit about it, and this is the result. You know what I mean? It's like It's one of these. I always see big brands, their activations in two buckets: completely like genuine, get it, speaking to the audience, right? Real insider feel, and then sort of like, hey, we found out that gaming was cool, so like here you go, and like very little effort to actually get to know the audience. It's just it's uninspired to me. Is
that a smiley face in the O in good game too?
I don't know. Who says have a good game in gaming? Ever. I mean, I've never in my life.
No one ever. You say, I mean, you do say good game. You say GG. You say GG like GGLF. No, what do you say? GG. Good luck. Have fun. Yeah,
HF, put like get wrecked noobs on the back of my shoe or something like that.
I would wear that. I would wear that. Get wrecked noobs. Oh, that would be tight. Yeah, I agree. Anything a little like that's not even hard.
Little edgier, just a tiny 1% edgier.
You can. Yeah, I agree. Go on Etsy. Like you can find it. You know what? Actually, I'm going on Etsy right now. I'm buying those get wrecked.
Greg says, "Didn't you expect this after Adidas sold out with Ninja Shoe?" Totally, but the Ninja Shoe, in my mind, made more sense because it had a theme. This is just like generic gamer theme. It didn't make sense. Julian says, uninspired is the word here for sure. Go on Etsy and have a proper artist make you a pair just how you want. It's actually a really good idea.
Legit, I'm on Etsy right now. There are tighter designs here, including one that I really liked that says wrecked mate, where mate is M8. That one blew me away. Who thought about that one?
Greg Carney says, have a nice day is a horrible way to represent gaming. I know. It really is. It's just weird. Have a good game.
I don't know.
And the glow in the dark thing, I don't know. That's always like,
I don't mind glow in the dark.
That's lazy to me. Put real bling on my shoe that I can see in daylight or in the
smiley face. It's a smiley face. Whoever would do that in gaming ever? I don't think I've sent a smiley face in my gaming chat once. Like, I don't know. Anyway, let's spruce it up. Let's put some more fun.
Let's move on here. You want another light? You want to stay on this topic of gaming merchandise?
Tell me,
there's kind of like a theme this week. There's a few of these stories of gamer merchandise. Let me tell you one that I really like, even though I think it has no legs long term.
Yep.
But this was an article from EsquireMe.com. It says this immersive device will let you game as a transformer. And supposedly they worked in collaboration with Hasbro. William, your alma mater.
I do love Hasbro, and this is the exact sort of thing Hasbro would do.
So virtual reality company Robocom is preparing for the launch of the first ever location-based VR simulator to offer an immersive transformer experience. So I guess you sit in it, and then you can transform from sitting to standing, I guess, right? So you can feel like you're transforming. It says the gamer can fully immerse themselves as Optimus Prime or Bumblebee, engaging with the franchise like never before through the multi-person experience for up to 4 players. So it's this dedicated piece of hardware just to be a transformer.
You know, Paul, speaking as someone who went to BotCon, right? Like, which is like the Transformers mecca. And, you know, like seeing the passion of the fandom at BotCon, which truly blew me away. Like, there is a market for this. Let's start there. Believe it or not, like, there are a lot of people who are super excited to see this right now. And I got to be honest, it's pretty neat, right? Like, you're telling me you wouldn't like to pilot a virtual tank and you go into like robot human mode? Like, that at least this is a more creative VR station thing. I think the only thing that's concerning about the only thing that's concerning about this announcement to me is it feels like they really struggled to articulate what you do in the game. They're like immersive.
The article doesn't at all.
Yeah, it strikes me they built a transforming VR station and don't know what to do with it. Right, like that's what it strikes me as. You know,
but don't you see this as sort of a clear evolutionary step towards holodecks, right? Where we get some combination of generic VR hardware, which we have today, right? Like the goggles, and then some specialized VR hardware for specific situations where you want to emulate a certain kind of movement or a certain kind of vehicle or a certain kind of environment. and it's not practical, right? Because one day I may want to be a transformer, and then tomorrow I may want to be I don't know, in an Iron Man suit, right? And I can't use my transformer chair to be Iron Man.
No, that would be terrible. You couldn't do that. The IP license holders would never let that happen.
but like it is an evolutionary step, right?
Well, I'm a huge fan, and I have been since I think it was Steel Battalions on the original Xbox. I am a huge fan of overpriced specialized hardware to have a higher fidelity. No, I am absolutely serious. I don't play racing games at all, and I have like a $600 at-home racing setup, like just to have like, you know.
Well, the original was not Steel Battalion. Do you remember original Mech Warrior? Oh. That's where you had to buy the like a really good joystick setup, you know.
Oh, not only do I remember the original Mech Warrior, Jade Falcon. Not only do I remember the original Mech Warrior, but I had an experience where I was almost run out of business school because me and one buddy of mine, Sharif Debs, were picked to make our section promotional video. And, you know, in business school, Harvard Business School, you're split into sections. And Sharif, nobody else was helping us. And
MIT
Sharif,
calls them oceans, just FYI.
Yeah, well, MIT is so special. And Sharif and I loved Mech Warrior. We loved it so much. And we were so mad at the section for not helping us. We're like, we're just going to make a Mech Warrior promotion trailer, and they're going to put this up for our section, you know, announcement. And so literally, like, everyone else is doing section introductions like, hi, we're section A and we like to have fun. We enjoy timing on the beach and serious study in the classroom. And ours is Mech Warrior cutscenes for 2 minutes.
I like it. Good to know you guys were learning a lot at Harvard Business School.
The best part is when it started to play, Sharif and I both looked at each other and we both knew not as funny as we thought it was going to be. Like, we had this sinking feeling like
no one's going to get that.
Play, like,
no one.
Like, literally, like, it's the definition of internal energies feeding off yourself. Anyway, sorry.
Julian says it is something Hasbro would have done at least in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And Cam says, is this how arcades evolved? Yeah, I think so. Like especially like the VR arcades will be able to justify, I think, the specialized equipment. At home, I don't think the specialized equipment will ever really make it, right? Like, the at-home piece is going to have to wait for much more generic equipment that can do it all, right? That can make me a Transformer and an Iron Man.
I'm not so sure about that. I think for the right killer app, it works. Like, imagine if League of Legends required a $300 specialized piece of gear.
That's true.
It's the right app. I'm a huge believer. I know hardware is a big barrier to adoption. Price is a big barrier to adoption. Don't be fooled. But I am a huge believer. But for the right experience, this crosses over. Because think how much nobody's blinking an eye at batting a $200 keyboard. Right? We're all like, oh,
that's true. Fun.
Nobody's blinking an eye buying a $3,000 gaming PC to run it a little bit better. The challenge that we've had is we've very rarely had the use case match to the actual game. Like, there's been custom hardware like the skate controller for a nut game that's not fun. And when it works, and I can think of there are examples when it works, Skylanders, right? When it works, people will dish out hundreds of dollars to have the experience. So I'm a huge believer in, if you're going to make these innovative form factors and the game is there to back up the fidelity of the experience, it will cross over. So if you have stupid gaming peripherals you want to pitch me, hit me up on LinkedIn, because I am like the guy. Like, I will do it and I will love it. I'll be like, this cotton candy making device is perfect. I've always wanted to make virtual cotton candy, you know.
That's it for all those circus VR.
I'm your sale one. Have a Kickstarter for something I don't need to simulate something I don't want. As long as it's a custom controller, I'm there.
Well, let's talk about stupid accessories, because we're on this. It's like the Shark Tank for gaming accessories right now. This was an article from thenextweb.com. 48 hours with Zephyr, the anti-sweaty hands gaming mouse. So basically, I don't even need to show the article. Basically, it's a gaming mouse that they reviewed, but it has a fan inside. So it blows air, supposedly, on your hand while you're gaming to keep it from sweating. If you actually read the review, which I did, because I was curious, The reviewer, I think it's a guy. The reviewer said that because your hands tight against the mouse, you couldn't feel the air. It felt more like just a vibrating mouse. Never mind that. I'm sure it's quite heavy because it has a fan in it, and noisy because it has a fan in it, which is weird. But this is certainly in that category of probably accessories we don't need, right?
Well,
like, what's your explanation? How does this see the light of day, William?
My explanation is like, I am in the market for plussed up mice, right? Like, it might not be this feature, it might be an execution problem, but like, you're not telling me, say this had worked, Paul. Say the reviewer had said, I measured my accuracy in CSGO before and after, and the cooling kept my hands an average of 2 degrees warmer, which translated into a 0.2% increase in shot accuracy. You're telling me you wouldn't rush out to buy this? Like,
you know what's interesting? Even the high, and I will answer your question, but even the super high performance mice and the ones who put themselves in that category, right? Like the final mouse, where it's all about, we're going to turn you into an aim god and all this, right? This is their marketing. None of them get that scientific ever. Not Logitech, not Final Mouse, not Zowie, not like, name every big, mouse maker today who makes performance gaming products. None of them go there.
It's weird. I mean, maybe I misunderstand the market, but as a gamer, I am constantly looking for an excuse to buy things. Like, my default state is I will buy it. And all I need is the loosest justification that I will be slightly better. And I'm there. You know what I mean?
Are they worried about false advertising claims? Are they worried about the cost of running tests like that? Because that's not cheap either.
I think it's a mixture of, it's an endorsement driven market and the false advertising, right? I think when you make those advertising claims, there's real standards about what you need to back them up with. So that's tough, right? And then, also I think if you look at how these products are driven, like, yes, Final Mouse was better. It felt better. But like, I think it was Ninja that really drove Final Mouse over the line. You'd rather spend your money on endorsement marketing. Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, Final Mouse had real performance benefits because of how lightweight they were.
Yeah.
But now everyone's caught up. So like, Greg says this mouse blows.
That was a really good one. Thanks, Greg. Greg, you can type any more puns like that.
Yeah, Greg, you can basically replace William at this point. I
had a
good word joke is all it takes.
That's literally.
Martin says, not the hand warming and levitating mouse we wished for last week. I know.
Thanks, Martin. You remember
the $20,000 one or whatever it was.
I love it.
Greg says, as long as the RGB blinds me, I'll get it. That trend I don't get. The whole RGB.
I actually do get it, Paul, because it's the illusion of performance, which I totally buy as well. If it looks like it will make me perform better, I'm there. Like, I have everything I have right now is a Razer Chroma with Chroma synced keys. And I know that's not the best keyboard. I know if I'm a serious gamer, I don't use that. But the lights are so pretty. I feel it. It's like the willow.
But do you see them ever when you're playing?
No, but it makes me feel more legit. Like, my wife will see me and she'll be like, oh, he must be gaming seriously. The keyboard's changing colors.
Yeah, but the RGB mouse is the one that makes the least sense because your hand is covering all the lighting.
Paul, I'm looking at my RGB mouse right now. Can you guys see this if I put this up? Like, you literally.
God, you have it on rainbow puke too.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not kidding. This is not a joke. If I put my hand over it, that's literally what I can see. So you're right. It makes no sense. If anything, it makes the mouse slightly more uncomfortable because it's a little hot where the light is. But
this is fundamentally the disconnect for me, right? Because we're making the claim that gaming is like golf in some ways, and I use that analogy all the time because I find golfers to be fanatic about this, right? They will spend money to get 1% better, and they'll spend thousands of dollars to get 1% better.
You and me both, buddy.
And so gamers seem to have a similar psychology, right? But then it all gets thrown out the window when people buy art, like stuff covered in RGB lighting. Like, There's a disconnect there.
Well,
because the RGB lighting makes it heavier, right?
It's not because the performance, like, you have to understand there is a performance. Like, think about it, the difference between Olympic golfers. There are Olympic golfers, right? Think about it like Olympic golfers and average golfers, right? Or weekend warrior golfers, right? Olympic golfers, it's truly performance. That's all that matters, right? Like, it truly is like a performance driven. At the end of the day, it's utility maximization. For most people who play golf, they're in it to maximize their utility, right? And most often that means winning. But if something makes you feel you
are we
win
really
better,
getting into utility maximization?
Sorry.
Oh, man. The professor breaking down. I can
should I not go into my?
No, I like it. Let's go.
Should I not go all? Who is the guy who did utility? Bentham? Is it Bentham? I can't remember. I don't know. My philosophy teachers would be mad at me. But it's utility, and the feeling of performance is sometimes as important as the performance itself. It's true. And to give you an example of this, think of when you play games. There are games you win, and there are games you win, right? And those games that you win are worth a lot more than the games you just sort of win, right? That shows you right there, you're not just playing games for victory. You're actually playing for the best experience, right? You're paying to utility maximize. I said, I would rather, in a night of gaming, I would rather lose 5 times, but have one game where the win was so sweet rather than string 5 easy victories together, right?
Yeah, but to me, the RGB lighting, it's always been like the Honda Civic with the giant wing and the big muffler. That's always how RGB lighting felt to me. It adds no performance. It's all about making other people think that you are really fast and really serious.
Well, now you know how I feel about every Macintosh product ever. It adds no performance, but it looks better, so it must be easier to use. But no, there's a real market, and I think you always forget this. There's a real market for what Bill Gates called leadership in colors. And that will always stay with me as one of the best Bill Gates quotes is you can't, in fact, this is a valid way to build a business, leadership in colors, and it's defensible. And a lot of businesses you can't explain when you really think at what they're doing. It's leadership in colors.
Yeah. But it's interesting because if you look at the market as a whole, just for mice, for example, right, it seems there are still gaps because there's a lot of RGB everything that's filled, right? But that super high performance that this something like this is trying to go after, there's not many people there. There's not many people playing.
When are we doing our mouse company? We've talked about this.
Roman says, okay. Oh my gosh, I finally caught the live show. Welcome, Roman. I'm happy you made it.
Roman, also very dapper.
And he says,
by the way,
I love the hero's background. It's not as good as the Paul background, but
I can swap it to the Paul background now just for memories.
For my mom's sake, William.
Yeah, right? For your mom. Look at that. Oh no, there's weird artifacting in the bottom. I can't do that. There we go.
Greg says, William, the RGB makes you the best first-person shooter, right? Yeah, we saw that firsthand.
Well, they do justify it. They say it flickers with your health and when you take damage.
As you're not looking down at your hands.
As if you don't know when you're taking damage. As if any game ever that's competitive has an unclear damage.
If you're looking down at your hand, I've already killed you.
I know. Yeah.
All right, let's switch gears. Let's get away from the accessories business, gaming accessories business. Let's talk about. Hang on, let me bring this up. Let's talk about Verizon because this was an interesting piece of news.
Arguably the greatest.
And it was Verizon sponsoring FaZe Clan. So they have this new deal. They're now FaZe Clan's exclusive 5G and 4G network sponsor. I didn't realize you needed separate network sponsors.
What is that even?
5G and 4G.
What were the other choice? I guess it could be Comcast. I don't know.
Well, in terms of who could this is mobile. So it's T-Mobile. I guess Sprint is owned by T-Mobile now. AT&T. So AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile will be the big 3 in the US.
Cool.
And so actually, hold on. I want to address this before we move on to this. Greg says, that's how I feel about blinged out shoes. Does not help performance. Greg, this is where you're wrong. I will tell you why. Okay. I've had people who met me once, like 10 years ago, and they will come up to me at a conference or something and be like, I remember you. You're the guy with the shoes. Like the recall because of my shoes, which are so loud, like it's impossible to forget.
They're awesome.
That's performance. That kind of networking performance, you can't get that with normal shoes. You're wearing black loafers, no one's gonna remember.
It breaks my heart, but it's true. It's true.
So Verizon sponsoring FaZe Clan. What do you make of this, William? Isn't it weird? Let's call it like it is. It's a bit weird, right?
The whole thing is like, I mean, I'm all for corporate sponsorships of teams. I mean, everybody knows my team want, corporate sponsors, or how every team makes money, right? This is a weird moment to be sponsoring FaZe. Given where everything is in the world, and I don't want to bring this into politics, but given where everything is in the world, a very safe, very clean, neutral brand like Verizon, which I think is safe to describe as the Clorox wipe of, telecom, right? Like, I think it's safe to, I'm saying it's like neutral, family friendly. I don't know, like a very simple brand like that. Like, why frat house boy bro? Like, why that? Particularly when you must know there's Cloud9 and TSM and other brands that I would argue have a more antiseptic image that fits better with you, right? Like, I don't know.
Unless there was some discussion internally that says, like, because T-Mobile if you look at the big three, T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, and I don't want to get too much discussion on U.S. telcos, but T-Mobile has always been kind of the trailblazer, the innovator on pricing, on products, on things like that, right? They were always the edgier brand, even if they didn't have the best network, even if they didn't have the best whatever, right? They were the risk takers of the three.
Absolutely.
And they sponsored Overwatch League, which was, I guess, avant-garde for the time. But you would have expected that maybe out of a T-Mobile, like, hey, this is edgy. Unless this is Verizon saying we need to get edgier, right? And using FaZe Clan in gaming to create that perception. But it seems badly timed.
And like,
now's not the time to get edgy.
Yeah, and like, what does FaZe Clan do with this? Are they like, yo, we only take our calls on Verizon? Like I just like, it's because they can't be like, we only game on Verizon 5G. You know what I mean? Like,
no, but they have a lot of like content creators who are out and about on their phones, I guess.
Yeah. I just, this doesn't feel super organic-y to me. Like if you're going to do something, like I always go back to that Team Soda bid promotion that Dr. Pepper did with TSM. Was it the greatest promotion in the world? No. But did it at least look like there was effort and thinking there? Yeah. This looks like a little bit of a logo slap with an odd logo to slap is my read. So
Roman says, why would they promote FaZe Clan over the other org that the people that just left FaZe to make a healthy org? Yeah, the XSET guys. Well, because the jury's out if XSET is actually sincere.
Yeah, well,
let's
hold back on that, but it's a little difficult to be certain.
Too early to say.
Yeah. I wouldn't be rushing there, but this is an interesting one.
But I think your point is a good one, Roman, in that you've had departures, you've had some bad press, and then Verizon comes in. Like, again, if it was like G Fuel or like an already edgy brand, Mountain Dew, I might have said
respect. Can we?
I might have said, I get it, right? These are edgy brands to begin with. They're not afraid to wade into murkier waters. But Verizon,
I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm calling this, if this deal hadn't been done months ago. Like, this isn't a 6-month-old deal that's just getting announced now. That's how odd it is. My read here is, sometimes people bank deals to play out news or, for all sorts of reasons, or maybe it's just they want to announce it close to activation, and Verizon did the deal, when they were activating. My gut is this is something that was done a while ago and is just hitting the hopper now. That's my gut.
It could very well be. I mean, that's most likely what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about fundraising.
Oh, let's go.
because this is a relatively big one for a game publisher, a new game publisher. These are ex-Bungie guys, and they just raised $9 million for a VR game studio called Polyarc to pursue development in VR and AR games. They're backed. So the round was led by Hero Capital with participation from Vulcan and Galaxy Interactive. Galaxy Interactive, who we had on the podcast a couple of months ago now.
I do like the Vulcan guys. They've done some smart stuff in the past, I think. I've seen their name around.
You know, William, when I brought this up to you as a potential topic, I think the comment I made to you was I'm seeing a trend of an increase in the number of game studios focused only on VR, VR/AR, but pretty much VR. Like it used to be, you'd have bigger game studios dabbling in it, right? Some of the big publishers or bigger publishers. You'd have a few of these specialty ones pop up here and there, but I'm starting to see a trend of more and more well-financed publishers specializing in VR. Are you seeing the same trend?
Yeah, there's been a bunch. I mean, it started with the Second Dinner folks who did Hearthstone, leaving Activision Blizzard, right? You know, and that wasn't VR specific, that was mobile specific. But I mean, there's a market trend towards top tier developers spinning off to do micro studios. Of those micro studios, VR is by far the most popular now. And I think what we're seeing, and I think this is really interesting, is, and I hope I'm right about this, is VR requires risk, right? Like VR is not just paint by numbers. You don't take the regular. It might be tough for big orgs, you know, large established publishers to take a bet like Valve did on Half-Life Alyx, right? It might be tough. And so if you're a great developer at a big company with a lot of pedigree, you probably have a ton of great ideas that aren't getting into the next Call of Duty Cold War franchise because people don't want to do that. This doesn't fit in Halo Infinite. It's not like the last Halo, right? And so this is a natural outlet for innovation that I really like. And I like the fact that there's venture money going into it, because I do think, and we've said this before, we are on the cusp of the VR break. I had thought Half-Life Alyx might be it. It wasn't it, guys. It was a good game. We're not there yet, right? But we're close. We're so close. You're so close, you know? And could it be? And it's one of those things where, look, play Super Hot in VR. Didn't take a ton of money to make that game. Small studio did it. Beat Saber, small studio originally. The innovation doesn't have to come from big people because it's a format innovation, not a polish innovation. So I'm a big believer here.
Yeah, the question becomes the Super Hots and the Beat Sabers of the world don't necessarily move that evolution forward, right? They're great games, very engaging, sell a lot of headsets, which is not a bad thing, right? The more hardware you put in people's hands, the better. So those are great gateway drug kind of VR games. The question is, will this model, small micro studios, venture backed, you know, when we have a dozen of them, 24 of them, are those micro studios going to end up producing the big breakout killer app for VR, right? The next giant thing that has, you know, grandmothers running out to buy headsets.
I hope so. I mean, look, I think ultimately you do need more capital. But look at Minecraft, right? That's an entirely new genre of creative play that I'm a big believer that innovation in gaming, because of the nature of the medium, it doesn't. Innovation doesn't really come from giants, right? VR is harder because there are just much more attendant difficulties and development costs and all these other things. Nonetheless, like, there's a killer app out there, and it's months, if not years away. And I hope some guys like this get it, because these are experienced folks, and this is their Series B. So clearly they have something special they've been proving out. You know, they have more ways to go, but it's encouraging because this isn't like an A round, like a silly seed round. This is they must have something here that's cooking. So,
William, I know you have to run soon, but I want to finish on one very I want to finish on a segment that I want to do weekly. And so kind of a good way to wrap things up. And so what we're calling this is, what are we playing this week?
Which is a good one. This is a good one.
A chance to, you know, step away a little bit from the business of games and talk just about what we're playing this week. So talk to me. What were you playing this week? What was your in-game news?
I feel terrible not talking about esports, but I was playing a lot of Ghost of Tsushima, which I really like. Not a game-changing game.
It's so boring to watch on Twitch, to be honest.
The game can be boring sometimes, but the polish and the love is so there. It was really made by people who love samurai films. Like, I love samurai. I can't say no. And then I played a little bit of Carrion that launched this week. The indie You're a Monster Metroidvania style game. Really have liked the 2-ish hours I've spent with that. Still too early to tell, but it's fun to see a new take on Metroidvania. Like, that's such a paint by numbers formula game. It's fun to see somebody trying to flip it with some interesting mechanics. Like, the more things you kill, the bigger you get, but the more abilities you lose. Like, there's some interesting tensions there that are fun game design. What about you, Paul? What were you playing?
My gaming time has been dropping over the last few months. And I was playing some WoW Classic.
Of course.
I will say in the last 2 months, my WoW Classic time dropped to just the Tuesday night raid with my guild.
No.
I was just doing the Tuesday night raid. I wasn't I didn't even log on the rest of the week. No. And this week I told them I'm done. Like, I don't even want to play Tuesday nights anymore. Which I'd love for you to unpack why I think that that doesn't bode well for WoW Classic. Like, it just didn't have legs. You know what I mean? You played for a bit, then you start raiding with your guild. The raid is one night a week. And then, unless you're engaged in some other way, there's nothing holding you there. I didn't even like my guild members, so that really wasn't holding me there.
I think that's the reason you left, Paul, because if you go to network effects, you didn't have a network you liked. They were a negative here. They were a reason. Plus, you wanted to play with me because we started to play some games. So that's a big thing.
I picked back up. I think the time I will spend gaming, and did spend gaming last week, was mostly just Apex. Just falling back in love with that game. Really,
I want to do that with you because Apex is really fun. I really like Apex.
Really, and it has still a great player base. Possible to get a game at all hours. The numbers seem very healthy, but it doesn't get the love. I don't know why.
Well, because it's not Fortnite. It's a winner take all market, and it kills me because there's a lot I like there. Yeah.
So that's it. That's what we're playing this week. Greg says, "Love the podcast. Thank you both for your insight you bring. First live I've got to join." Greg, thank you so much for being here. We love having you here. Please show up every week. This is unusual. Usually we go on, I've got maybe 10 more topics.
It's me this week, guys. I'm like, this is an unusual sandwich for me.
But tune into the podcast, drops tomorrow. If you really want more content, I put out a weekly 3-minute video that summarizes the most important news of the week. We put out a bunch of other stuff on the website, which you can check out, thebusinessofesports.com. And if you are really if you want to be A+ student sitting at the front of the class, what you do is you go on Amazon.com.
Don't joke. Yeah.
And you pre-order the Book of Esports by our very own William Collis here, because it is coming out, in a week?
It is August 4th, next Tuesday.
Yeah, 1 week.
Yeah.
And it's a fantastic, fantastic read. Highly, highly recommended. So on that note, guys, thank you for tuning in. Can't wait to see you guys next week. We're going to have to do 2 live streams or something a week, William.
We'll figure it out. We'll have to figure it out.
More.
But these are fun.
Stay tuned for more content. Thank you, William, as always. And we will see you guys next week.
Love it.